Urban Debate on Magic Bricks now. I'm D'souza. Thank you for tuning in. Appalling state of affairs from the country's IT capital, Bangalore, as several parts of that city went up in flames, causing great inconvenience to its citizens. Here are a look at the headlines today. After the Supreme Court changed its order on Karnataka's appeal, asked for the state to release 12,000 cusecs of water until the 20th of September to Tamil Nadu, protests and violence break out in several parts of both of the states. Bangalore bearing the brunt of it. The protests in Bangalore take an ugly turn. Over 40 buses were set on fire at a depot in Bangalore. The worst of all of it was in Bangalore. In the state of distress, the protest escalates. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah appeals to citizens to maintain peace. And earlier today in Tamil Nadu, protesters took to the streets. Petrol bombs hurled at a Chennai restaurant. Several vehicles with Karnataka number plates were vandalized. Well, to begin with, we've had a shocking day in Bangalore. It started off with a few stray incidents of stone pelting, but it has escalated to what you see on your screen right now. Shocking visuals that have just begun to come in. 40 KPN buses were torched at a neighbourhood called D'souza Nagar in Bangalore in a bus stop. KPN is a private travel company that has several buses operating long distance services between the cities of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala. This is the visual coming in. This is the visual that started to come in. 40 buses being burnt in the bus stop. These are private buses. This is not public property, but nevertheless something that started off as small stone pelting incidents. We saw a lathi charge then at a bus stop a little later. We heard the government of Karnataka then take metro lines and all public bus transport services off the road. This is what it has escalated to. This is what's happening between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu as the water wars over Cauvery escalate. My colleague Nikhil Joshi sent us this report from D'souza Nagar where the buses were set on fire. Nikhil?
It was expected that this place will throw up some protests, and this place might just be amongst those sensitive places on a day like this one, in a situation like this one. And there had to be ample deployment of security forces. And clearly that not having happened, we saw what happened earlier in the day where two lorries bearing Tamil Nadu registration numbers were set ablaze. And in this particular case, in this depot, it was about 35 buses parked. Only 2 of them bearing Karnataka, Tamil Nadu registration number, I beg your pardon, and all of them belong to KPN Travels, which is a native agency of Tamil Nadu. And because of those 2 buses bearing Tamil Nadu registration numbers, they were set ablaze, and the fire was quick to catch on to the neighboring buses as well. And that created this uncontrollable situation of sorts at this point, with the fire engines, more number of fire engines being pressed into service. But they do understand the dangers of it, which is why they have asked people living in this particular neighborhood to move out for the time, because they believe that this is not something that can be controlled in a few hours, and the need will be for a firefighting exercise to go on maybe all night. Only then will there be some kind of a control. But coming back to the core point, Tamil Nadu buses targeted, Tamil Nadu vehicles targeted. There had to be anticipation. Perhaps there was, but it was poor anticipation. There wasn't ample deployment of police forces, especially on Nice Road, even after seeing incidents of violence, incidents of Tamil Nadu buses being targeted, and which is why a consequence of this sort has...
Well, of course, it's tremendously upsetting information for any citizen of Bangalore to see the city suffer in that manner. I'm joined right now by Mohandas Pai, who has been a citizen of Bangalore and a strong voice for the city. Mr. Pai, good evening. This is D'souza. Thank you for joining us. It's of course extremely distressing to see what's happening in the city today, especially in a city that generates the kind of GDP, that does the kind of work that it does on a daily basis. To lose day after day to an issue like this, do you think the Karnataka government could have done a better job to be better prepared for the reaction it would get for that Supreme Court judgment?
Yes, the Karnataka government should have done a better job. Now, at the end of the day, there is no doubting that the Karnataka government has done a shoddy job. The police have not done their work. You know, in a city, they knew that the trouble is going to be in certain areas. That's the Mysore Road and the Hosur Road. Buses were burnt and vehicles were burnt, and then vehicles were overturned. Photographs and videos came through all news channels, but there were no police there. They should have put a large police force in that area. with vehicles, a rapid reaction force to make sure that there is no violence. But we didn't see any of them on TV. We didn't see any of them coming later. And many people from there said that there was violence, there was burning, but police were not to be seen. And whoever police came there were not adequately prepared. They had no right gear. They just came with their cap and they came with a lathi. And who is going to respect them if they don't come in overwhelming numbers and with the right gear? The police are also scared of being beaten up or having stones thrown for them. I think it is a sign of how badly this has been treated by the police as well as the government of Karnataka. Sadly, the government has come out very badly today in not managing the violence and not having the intelligence, not preparing for what happened today.
Well, Mr. Pai, we also had a terrible incident today, and I can tell you from experience, friends and family who got in touch saying their advisory from their companies, people who are working in IT companies, were told to stay in their offices until things got quietened. But in the meantime, schools started sending children home on school buses today. So children were reaching home while their parents were still trapped in their offices. And there was no clear instruction from the government on whether people should attempt to go home, whether people should stay in their offices, whether children should be collected from their schools. It was absolute mayhem. It was very, very difficult for citizens to actually find their way home.
Yes, the government abdicated responsibility. They should have sent out advisories. They should have had a crisis center where the chief secretary, the home secretary, and the DGP of police should have been there, and that should have monitored. They should have had rapid reaction forces. They were just not prepared. I mean, this is very shocking and just shows how badly the government has let down the citizens of Bangalore and the state. You cannot allow such violence in cities knowing fully well what happened over the last 3 days. You had enough time, and if you don't have people or policemen there, you must ask the center to send a rapid action force. The center would have sent people who are prepared and put them in the right places. It's very shocking and very disappointing and very sad that violence has been there and violence has been allowed to play out in the city of Bangalore, and it has put us to shame. Karnataka and the city of Bangalore is put to shame globally for such violence.
Well, Mr. Pai, obviously the city of Bangalore and the government of Karnataka invites investments from across the world because this is a global city with a global population. We haven't seen a reaction like this to the Cauvery issue since 1991. Have we sort of stepped backwards, that we've allowed ourselves to go back, so many decades instead of looking forward to the city that we could be?
Has been appealing to people on both sides of the border to maintain peace and order, sir. What is your message to Kannadigas and also people on the other side of the border today?
The message would be, I am appealing to people of Karnataka to be calm and maintain law and order, and they should not damage the public properties in Karnataka. And also, we have decided to give protection to Tamilians here in Karnataka, and also I requested the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to give protection to the Kannadigas who are living in Tamil Nadu. In both the states, I request all the citizens of both the states be calm and maintain law and order, and peace is the only solution for all these things.
You've also written a letter to the centre asking for the intervention.
Yes, I have written a letter to Prime Minister of India for intervention.
So you're open to sitting across the table with the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and talking and solving this issue amicably?
No, we are ready always. The Karnataka stand is always that we have to settle the matter across the table. But all those things, efforts are over now. Though the matter is pending before the tribunal and also pending before the Supreme Court. See, the Supreme Court passed an order asking us to release more water than the orders passed on 5th of this month.
My last question to you, sir. At some point of time, despite your repeated appeals, there are buses being burned. There are untoward, unfortunate incidents. Your direct message to all those people?
No, already I appealed to all the citizens of Bangalore city and also people of Karnataka not to indulge in any criminal activities. See, if they take the law into their hands, the government of Karnataka will take stern action against such miscreants.
Right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, sir. That was the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Siddaramaiah.
Well, that was the Chief Minister of Karnataka speaking to citizens right now, appealing for peace. But this, what you're looking at on your screen right now, is a reaction post several appeals that came from the state government for peace. And I think one of the most disturbing things that happened were businesses, shops, vehicles bearing any sort of connection to Tamil Nadu in their name or their registration were vandalized today, the worst of which is the visuals, are the visuals that we're looking at on our screen right now. Mr. Pai, if I can go back to you, I'm sorry we had to cut you off while you were speaking because that Chief Minister's comment came in at exactly that time. But the idea that this is now, sort of reducing down to identity politics of Kannada versus Tamil, which is so unfortunate, especially in a city where the two communities have coexisted in peace for decades.
For 200 plus years, let's understand, the people have lived together and we don't know who is a Tamilian, who speaks Kannada, everybody is the same. No, it is sad because when you have a charge up atmosphere like this, bad elements are going to take the law into their own hands, because they will threaten violence and then they'll start collecting hafta and money. This is a normal thing. Police know who they are. You could see them on TV and the police should have acted swiftly to arrest them. That's the only solution that works. When there is a vacuum, something else rushes in and the police did not act adequately, did not take adequate precautions, or if they're taken, they have not informed us, and you see this violence. This violence, it reflects very badly in the police of the state. It reflects very badly on the political establishment. Yes, the Chief Minister has said he'll take stern action. The Home Minister should tell us what is the stern action he's taking to restore peace, law and order in the city of Bangalore, especially in those areas where the violence is there. The violence is not all over the city. It is in specific areas, Hosur Road and the Mysore Road. Mysore Road, because linked to Mandya, there is enormous amount of emotional anger there. And the Hosur Road, because it's a gateway to Tamil Nadu and people are taking advantage.
It should have been common sense to be better prepared. Brijesh Kalapa joins us right now. Brijesh Kalapa represents the government of Karnataka, not just on this show, but also in the Supreme Court. While arguing that Cauvery case, Brijesh Kalapa responds to Mohandas Pai, who says the government should have been better prepared. It was a very poor show in protecting your citizens today. Citizens were distressed and there just wasn't enough being done by the state government and the police. And the matter, despite us being told, the DGP told us on this channel at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that everything is under control. It's obviously not under control. Buses are still being burnt. We're going to lose days and days of work at this rate. What is the Karnataka government's response?
No, first of all, I must tell you that over the last 2 days there has been a bandh, and that bandh went off extremely peacefully. So there were no acts of violence at all during the bandh. Now there were some WhatsApp messages which were circulating in which a certain person had been roughed up, and I think the social media as well as the mainstream media, they went to town about it, and this message went from mobile phone to mobile phone, and that had the necessary effect of causing a certain amount of friction, and it brought back memories of what happened in 1991 when a bandh had happened and when crores of rupees had been either burnt or had been vandalized or had been destroyed. So this is exactly what happened. Now, if one expects that in a city of
we're looking at footage right now of Mysore Road. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're looking at footage of Mysore Road on the screen right now. There are a group of people vandalizing a car. They break the windscreen. They turn the car over onto its side. There are videos doing the rounds right now where people have spent, setting fire to trucks and to buses, and there are no policemen in sight at all. Agreed that the policemen did come into play a little later during the day, but even now there are portions of the city that are under threat. So please tell me how the state government is keeping this entire thing under control. What is the state government doing?
Now, the media also has a role, Faye, and I don't know if the media is conscious of that role, because if one shows that a car is being burnt or a bus is being burnt, then there are going to be repercussions on the other side.
Brijesh Kalapa, the media is very aware of its role, and I'll tell you that right now the citizens of Bangalore are desperate for information, and that is the job that we are currently providing.
I would beg to disagree. I would beg to disagree. I would beg to disagree, Faye. There have been certain sections of the media which have behaved rather irresponsibly, and I don't think I'm holding a mirror to you. And I think everybody should be conscious of what kind of a role they have in society, what kind of a responsibility they have towards society. I think it's extremely essential.
Brijesh,
and let's not try to
since you brought that up, I can't
because it's always easy to blame the government.
Okay, I can't speak for the whole media, Brijesh Kalapa. I will speak for this channel that I personally look after. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we started tracking this story. At 2 o'clock, we desperately attempted to call everybody in the government. We finally got the DGP police on the phone line. We asked him for updates. All we were interested in was, should people stay in their offices? Should people go pick their children up from school? Is it okay for children to be moving around in school buses right now? What are the areas in which there are problems? Is Section 144 actually being used in Bangalore or not? All of that information which we had to put out because the government at that point during the day when it was desperately needed was not communicating with its citizens, and that is the information that its citizens needed. And if you are going to tell me right now that citizens are turning to the media, it's because the government, in spite of this era of social networking, is not communicating with the citizens. Ravi Ramu joins me on the phone line right now. Ravi Ramu, as a citizen of Bangalore who went through, and I'll come back to Mohandas Bhai for this as well, do you believe that the government communicated well enough with its citizens and kept the citizens informed?
Well, I think, hi Faye, hi Mohan, hi Ms. Karapa. I got to know, and we run a real estate company where we have projects and hundreds of laborers and workers across the city. And I got to know through a WhatsApp message. And that wasn't sent by the government or anything to do with the government. So I think actually I'm thankful to WhatsApp and the messages that do circulate. That's when we took appropriate action. And schools actually called some of our parents who were working in our office, and they said, look, they've asked us to pick our kids up from their schools. And it was about, 2:30 in the afternoon. So I think that the communication gap which was there was filled by our own social networks. So for that, I'm very grateful for, but for the rest, and the system of communication, I'm afraid it's almost non-existent. And that's where I think the next level of problem comes into for business. I'm not talking politics. I'm not talking media or government. I'm talking about us business people. We need to carry on, moving across towns like ours. And I'm afraid that's just impossible. And it's the second day I've been sitting largely at home and trying to run a company. It's proving quite challenging, shall we say.
It is challenging for a city like Bangalore to not be able to continue to function. Mohandas Bhai, do you believe there was enough communication and that the media was not doing its job and we shouldn't be at this point attempting the low-hanging fruit of blaming the government? Is that a fair statement coming in from Brijesh Kalapa?
I'm very distressed at the way Brijesh Kalapa has become showing a very sorry figure before everybody on the channel. The government has abdicated responsibility. He said, do we have enough police for the city of Bangalore? There are two places in Bangalore where there have been violence. Hosur Road and Mysore Road. Mysore Road is a known place for violence. Hosur Road is a known place for violence because it is going to Tamil Nadu. These are the two places where there had to be more police. And the police is adequate to go there and to do that. There has to be a rapid reaction force. And you cannot abdicate your responsibility. I want to look at the Supreme Court decision. Supreme Court has admonished the affidavit filed by the state of Karnataka. The state of Karnataka, before the Supreme Court today in the decision which has come out, please read the judgment, has admonished the lawyers of Karnataka from drafting a very poor affidavit, and Falin Nariman, the senior counsel for the state of Karnataka, disowned that affidavit. It is terrible. It is not the way to deal with serious matters before the court. I mean, the government seems to abdicate responsibility. Now we have Brijesh Kalapa as a spokesperson coming and giving a pathetic explanation, a terrible explanation. Then you must ask him, why is this party ruling the state? If you cannot perform your duties, have a ruling order, make sure the rule of law is enforced, which is the primary responsibility. What are you doing in the government? You cannot communicate to citizens, tell them where their lives are in danger, the children's future are in danger, and if you don't go and communicate, tell what is happening, to put out an advisory, what are you doing? What are you communicating? And about that, you want to give an excuse and blame citizens, blame the media. This is outrageous. I hope all citizens come on social media and say what they think of Brijesh Kalapa's pathetic display of, giving up responsibility for the state. This is not what we want from a government. We want a government to stand up, make sure law and order is there, protect the lives and liberties and properties of all citizens, send a stern message to everybody. They will not tolerate violence, they will not tolerate burning of buses, and they will prosecute them and put them before jail and make sure the police perform the duty. That's what we want. It's nothing extraordinary. That is what they've been elected to do.
In fact, Brijesh Kalapa, just to read out the reports that came out about the Supreme Court judgment that Mr. Pai is referring to, the Supreme Court expressed anguish today over the tone and tenor of the Karnataka government's plea. It went on to say law and order as the problem cannot be used as grounds for not complying with the Supreme Court order. Law and order is the responsibility of the state government. My question to you is simply this. Could we not have preempted, like Mr. Pai is saying, that this reaction would happen in certain parts of Bangalore if we know, like the government has said repeatedly, the Home Minister of Karnataka and the Chief Minister of Karnataka have repeatedly said that this is an emotional issue, that people are extremely emotional about the waters of Cauvery, then there was going to be an outbreak of emotion. Shouldn't we have been better prepared for that outbreak?
Now, first of all, Faye, I must tell you frankly that Mr. Mohandas Pai has been something of a vicious opponent of everything the state of Karnataka has done, and I've never seen him on a show in which he has ever said something fair about the state of Karnataka or its government, despite the fact that he is a part of the vision group of Bangalore, and he himself has abdicated his responsibility by not making a note or by not making enough comments to the state of Karnataka. No, you please stop talking nonsense and don't interrupt me when I'm speaking, Mr. Pai. I've had enough of your nonsense. Please keep quiet for 5 minutes. Now, insofar as Mr. Pai's other comments are concerned, see, it's always, there are lots of people who, like Mr. Pai, can become experts at the drop of a hat. After all, they have to remember that, look, there is a situation here and the government is out to control the situation. Everybody across the city will admit to you and tell you that there has been never so much of a social media presence as there has been today. Whether it's the Chief Minister's personal tweets, whether it's the Chief Minister's personal Facebook messages, whether it's the Commissioner's messages, whether it's the Deputy Commissioner's messages, whether it's the Additional Commissioner's messages, whether it's the DGP's messages, every kind of message has gone to the public. And this has gone through social media. Now, if a person like Mr. Pai wants to sit like an ostrich buried under the sand, he's welcome to do so. And he has always been speaking against the government. He's welcome to continue to do so. But that's a different matter. The point is this, that if you're going to today have a situation which is an extremely troublesome situation for us, and we are dealing with this situation, we have to appeal to everybody across the board. And we don't need voices like this today to say that even in the middle of the situation, no, the state has completely failed. We require people who have a sense of loyalty towards the state and not people who are, people who are trying to profit from a situation. So this is the first thing I'd like to say. The first thing I'd like to say is that the situation is serious and it has to be controlled, and we require everybody's cooperation to do so.
Well,
so this is the first
Brijesh Kalapa, I don't think it's fair to question Mohandas Pai's loyalty to the state. I don't think it's fair to question Mohandas Pai's loyalty to the state.
That is my discretion. That is my discretion, Faye.
I wouldn't stand by that on this show at all. But
that is my discretion. I don't need your I don't need your advice on that. I don't need your advice on that. That is my discretion. I have the right to say, on the basis of what I have seen, Mr. Pai, over the last so many
Respond then to Ravi Ramu.
Doing on television. So I have my right to do so.
No. Brijesh Kalapa, respond then to Ravi Ramu, who also said that he's been trying to run a company and it's very, very difficult to run a company and to do business in Bangalore with this sort of thing happening repeatedly.
Why there is violence, he is going and bashing up citizens. You must answer why there was violence, why there was an abdication of responsibility, why there was such a pathetic affidavit filed before the Supreme Court which damaged our Karnataka's interest. He must answer all that instead of passing the buck and blaming citizens for criticizing the government. It's very simple. There are two main roads in Bangalore where there's violence. It is not difficult to control those two main roads. And when the TV was showing the same image for half an hour, 1 hour, there were no policemen. I mean, this is a very serious matter. This is not something you go blame somebody, oh, you are a critic, you are this, you are that, you are this. That is all nonsense. Let us be very clear and talk about the facts, not talk about anything else. And I have done more for the state in Bangalore the last 25 years than he will ever do in his life.
Mr. Kalapa, please respond to that. Please respond to that.
Let him talk about the facts today, not just give some theories and some explanation. What about the
first
Supreme
thing
Court?
is
Supreme Court affidavit. What a pathetic display by a lawyer. And Fali Nariman has disowned the affidavit.
Brijesh Kalapa, the first thing I need you to respond to is the Supreme Court affidavit. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. See, insofar as the Supreme Court affidavit is concerned, these were issues of fact which were placed before the Supreme Court. Now, if when the Supreme Court has been in charge in regard to filing and hearing a matter of modification, because there has been an order of the 5th of September, that order is being sought to be modified. Now, it is for the drafting advocate who has to go and present a draft. Now that draft has been made, and if Mr. Mohandas Pai thinks he can place me on the dock, I must tell you that I've had nothing to do with the drafting of that application. I'm the legal advisor to the state, and that application has been drafted by the lawyer, and that matter has been shown to other senior counsel, including Mr. Nariman, and that Mr. Nariman has very fairly stated before the Supreme Court that, look, these are the facts, and I take the responsibility for it. Now, the point is this, that when you're drafting a petition, it is the job of the lawyer to make all facts, all realistic facts available to the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has taken umbrage to one aspect and said that, look, the law and order has to be maintained by the state. The affidavit never says that we are not going to look into the law and order situation. We are only stating that, look, this is the law and order situation in the state. Now, the Supreme Court at some point in time said that, look, we are very upset with the way this affidavit is being drafted because of the reason that you have mentioned that the law and order situation is going out of hand. But these are facts. We have only stated the facts before the Supreme Court. In any event, the Supreme Court is completely within its place to make certain observations regarding the affidavit. But insofar as the affidavit is concerned, if there are only comments which do not reflect in the order, then there is nothing to speak in a television show about this, unless Mr. Pai wants to score some brownie points and make me look bad in the TV show. Of course, and he's doing that because he has been consistently doing that insofar as every Congress spokesperson is concerned. Not only on this TV show, in the last 2.5 years, whenever we appear for Karnataka, every Congress spokesperson has spoken about Mr. Pai's responsibility and the way he behaves. But Mr. Pai, on the other hand, decides that he will be in the vision group also, and he abdicates his responsibility while being in the vision group.
Brijesh Kalapa, I'm going to stop you there. I want to keep the focus here on the citizens of Bangalore.
I don't need a certificate from you, Brijesh Kalapa. Please mind your language, all right?
I want to keep the focus of this discussion on the citizens of Bangalore.
In those two streets in Bangalore, please answer the question. There's violence. There's been destruction of property. Our name has been spoiled globally for Bangalore and Karnataka. Aren't you concerned as a citizen of Karnataka, as a legal advisor? Aren't you going to tell us?
By the way, Faye, is Mr.
I fully endorse.
In fact, Brijesh Kalapa, let me get voices.
If Mr. Pai wants to be the anchor, then let him join your channel and become the anchor.
1 second, Brijesh Kalapa, let's focus on the citizens of Bangalore, which is what this show is about. The citizens of Bangalore who had enough trouble looking after their children, making sure their kids were safe while they were in the office. And I want all of our panelists, we've heard what Mr. Pai has to say about how the Karnataka government managed today. I want the rest of our panelists to also give us their opinion. Dr. Bejan Mishra, you've been watching what has happened in Bangalore all day, a world-class global city. What is your review of how the Karnataka government handled it?
I want to tell you, I'm an Indian citizen and I like to comment as an Indian citizen. Firstly, I want to endorse fully in terms of what Mohandas Pai said. You see, it is an issue of governance. We as taxpayers pay huge amount of money for the government to manage such situations whenever it occurs. You want to tell me a citizen like Mohandas Pai, he knows where the soft corners are, where the points are, where action needs to be taken. You want to tell me the state intelligence machinery doesn't know about it? You want to tell me that the state police doesn't know about it? You want to tell me that state police is so inactive and so inefficient that they will just stare at the face of the citizens and make things go haywire? You want to tell me that this is what we pay for? This is what, the politicians are all the time
Dr. Dominic F. Dixon. Dr. Dominic F. Dixon is an activist and a psychologist who joins us from Bangalore.
Instead of admitting that they are poor governance, they are trying to protect themselves.
Bejan Mishra, let me bring in Dr. Dominic F. Dixon, who is an activist who joins us from Bangalore right now. Dominic, thank you for joining us. What was your experience in Bangalore today? Do you agree as well?
See, Bangalore is one of the most welcoming cities in the country. Kannadigas are fantastic people. These fringe elements have an agenda. The basic thing is this: whatever riots we've been seeing, what we've been experiencing rather, is orchestrated. It has been orchestrated by fringe elements. Where were these fringe elements when the farmers were committing suicide? Where were these fringe elements when the governments were looting these people? Where were these fringe elements when the roads were killing innocent citizens? These are politically motivated agendas. The Home Minister, due respect to him, he says that the law and order has been taken care of. You know, these groups are so, they would erupt anytime. They would erupt anytime. Why they would erupt? Because they are orchestrated. And the government should have taken more steps to be more cautious. And I agree with what Mr. Mohandas Pai was saying. Look, we the citizens, we want a peaceful life. We are paying our taxes.
We're indeed paying our taxes. Before I bring in Sridhar Pabishetty, I want to point out.
Were in school.
I want to point out to our audience. that Brijesh Kalapa is not part of this conversation anymore. He has. I will be honest. He has been recovering from chikungunya, but he has left the conversation right now. He unmiked and left that conversation. Sridhar Pabishetty, CEO of Nama Bengaluru Foundation. Do you believe that
conveniently does that?
Couldn't stand it.
Do you believe that the state government mishandled this situation as well?
Absolutely. I think we should rewind and revisit some of the facts. You know, on the ground, the CM made an announcement that he'll not release any water, but in the affidavit, everybody was surprised to know that they had offered to supply 10,000 cusecs of water. That's where the whole crisis began, and the lumpen started taking a more and more center stage. And today, it's very, very unfortunate that Bangalore is going through such shameful times. Bangalore has always known for maintaining its peace and order, and today we saw complete mayhem. The biggest problem today, and Faye, I've come on your channel thrice today, and the biggest problem was that the Home Minister and the top brass of the police were not in sync. Till about 4 o'clock, there was confusion whether the Section 144 imposed or not, and in which parts of the city. And we heard different things coming from the government as well from the cops. That's how bad this situation is. And at 5 o'clock, the police finally put up saying that yes, now Section 144 has been imposed. If this is how the government and police coordination is, I think the Congress spokesperson can do much better things rather than pass on certificates of nationalism and statehoodness, etc. What's also very, very disappointing
the state government as
is
usual
the fact
is
that
irresponsible.
Both these roads which Mohan spoke about, the Mysore road and the Hosur road, are known entry points and known interconnect points to Mysore as well as to Tamil Nadu. What were they doing? Why did they not beef up enough security? Even this morning in the media, the government came out and put out huge statements of saying that we have got so many companies of paramilitary forces and police forces from other states. But that was not enough. We are being told 15,000 policemen will manage a city of 1.2 crores. And what was seen was the disaster of such management. It's unfortunate. What's very important for the state government to take note is saying that there has been a huge failure. They have to fix accountability on this. And as many media houses were able to go around to the places of extreme violence, many places there were not even 1 or 2 cops to manage the situation.
You know, I also want to, Sridhar, I'll come back to you. I want to bring in Sri Rajshekharan, C. Rajshekharan right now. Rajshekharan, we're looking at footage on our screen of a fringe political party that went into office in Chennai, sent all of those people out, created a ruckus and threatened those people and caused damage to their property, which we're looking at on our screen right now. This with broomsticks, this sort of thing has happened on both sides of the border. The last time you were on the show, you said the people of Chennai, the people of Tamil Nadu will never resort to this sort of thing. But it's happening on both ends of both sides of the border. This is identity politics. This is an attempt by fringe political parties to rip apart two sets of people who have lived in peace and harmony for 200 years.
It is most unfortunate and unfair to compare one minor incident which you are quoting now, which the visuals are being telecasted, to such a huge...
We are not
I
comparing.
have no
Any incident
words.
is an
I'm
incident.
speechless.
Sri Rajshekharan,
Please don't compare. It's
any incident is an
incomparable.
incident. I'm not
And
comparing. I'm saying,
I want to emphasize here.
why weren't those fringe elements treated more harshly? There is a policeman standing behind him while he's damaging property.
There was one minor incident in Chennai.
I don't see these men being arrested.
And it was immediately the
It's
police
not a minor
sprung
incident. How
into
can you
action,
say it's a minor
arrested the
incident?
four
There's a
miscreants,
man who's
and
waving
they
a
have
broom
been-
at women.
They have been... See, allow me to speak.
How
I don't
is it
know
a minor
who's
incident?
speaking on my
That's
behalf.
criminal intimidation.
Question is
I'm
asked
Dominic
to me.
Dixon. That's
Let me
criminal
speak.
Dominic
Otherwise
Dixon,
you can
Dominic
always-
Dixon, one second.
always
Let
rebut my
Rajshekharan answer this question.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
Rajshekharan, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
See, first I want to tell all your viewers to your channel that I am an Indian first. I am not a fanatic or I am not fringe or nothing. I am an Indian. I love India. I love all my neighbors like Kannadigas, Andhra, Keralites. Everybody are my brothers and sisters. And we in Tamil Nadu have the same mindset towards Kannadigas. But first time I'm shocked. If you see the visuals, 70 buses have been burnt which have been in the shed, parked in the shed. And 90 cars and lorries have been burnt. Tamils were being attacked. But only one incident, you are just blowing it out of proportion.
Let me show you more visuals. Let me show you more visuals. You're missing the point of my question. Rajshekharan, this is also earlier today in Chennai that we're looking at right now. It was not a single issue. You're looking at
Tamil
those.
Nadu is the most safest and peaceful state for any Kannadiga to live. See, you have many Kannadigas doing business. Their establishments are here. They have been 100% given security by the city police and the Tamil Nadu police. The chief
But we're looking at footage of it. You're missing the point of my question. You're missing the point of my question. My question is, my question to both governments is simply this: why wasn't
take care of the interest of the Kannadigas in Tamil Nadu?
Why weren't these people who we are seeing on our screen right now arrested and treated more harshly?
That's what my friend is saying.
Pejon Mishra, we're looking at this visual right now. The previous visual of the man with the broom who chasing people out of their office actually was flanked on both sides by policemen.
Incident, please don't compare.
It's like the police were providing him. They were not arresting him. They were not taking him out. They were not forcing him out of there in any way. It doesn't seem like the police took it seriously enough. 4 people have been arrested.
They are in judicial custody now. 4 people have been arrested.
Pejon Mishra.
No, so that is what I am trying to say, that why you lead the situation to this situation. This is a kind of a place. See, what I am all the time trying to tell the political parties, that for heaven's sake, give a responsible message to the citizens in a manner that they don't take up law and order in their own hands. They are being provoked. I am sure, there are many political parties involved in what you have the visuals which you are showing. Now, where are those leaders? I don't see those leaders. Those leaders should have been pacifying them, taking them to the right way, in a right manner, rather than taking law and order in their own hands. Why don't I see the leaders coming in public? Where are those leaders today now, at this point of time, when we want to see them? They only want to get the position and power.
You just watch the visuals of what is happening in Karnataka and Bangalore. Mr. Bijay Mishra, please don't compare
I am
with
not
Chennai
interested
or
in that.
Tamil Nadu.
I am interested.
Tamil Nadu is peaceful.
I am
an Indian. Again, I want to follow your words.
If you are an Indian, then why are you letting down Karnataka? You should say we are sorry for whatever is happening in both the states.
Why are you talking about one state versus other state? Don't you agree that this is illegal and criminal?
Let's focus on the fact. Let's focus on the fact that this is
what we should get from Karnataka.
Why are you trying to shift the blame? Don't shift the blame.
Let's focus on the fact, gentlemen, let's focus on the fact that this problem is 100 years old. Sujay Kantawala, this problem is 100 years old. You've been studying the legality of it. The Supreme Court passed a judgment. We now have both states, where public property, private property is being damaged, and fringe political players are turning this into a me versus you. Fringe political players are turning this into a Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu, 2 states that have coexisted. for so long, and common citizens, tax-paying, office-going citizens and their children are suffering as a result of it. Suchay Kantawal.
Stranded today on the road.
The visuals are appalling. The visuals are appalling, which you have been showing. Hats off to your channel. Hats off to Magic Bricks for starting this debate. Look, everyone on the panel agrees that we are all proud Indians. It's a beautiful experience every time to visit Bangalore and visit Chennai also. Having said that, it's the constitutional duty of the state government to see that there is law enforcement. These kind of images clearly prove that the policemen were not there. And I agree with Mr. Bijon Mishra and Mr. Mohandas Pai that the state government appears to have thoroughly failed. And no wonder their spokesman had to abruptly, conveniently leave the debate when it was getting too hot to handle.
Exactly.
I don't know whether the team of lawyers messed up in the Supreme Court. It's difficult to say that. But the point is this, that the state government has belatedly resorted to section 144, and that should have been done much earlier. Every citizen's property, every citizen's limb, life is precious in this country. And it is the duty of the state government, which appears to have miserably failed. And then coming on TV and giving sort of statements that please maintain calm, order and all. Where were all the policemen? Right. They knew the danger spots. They should have been there and they should have protected the citizens. Right. There are small school children. There are people who need to go to hospitals. And all the citizens, and Bangalore is a beautiful city. I mean, we would never like to see something like this happening.
Mr. Mohandas
so therefore, I feel that the state government is to immediately stop this, immediately arrest these rioters.
Mr. Mohandas Pai, the state government failed on several counts. First of all, after the Supreme Court judgment, we heard the state government come out and make the argument of this is drinking water vis-a-vis irrigation water. Then the state government said that it's an emotional issue, so there will be a band, there will be a reaction, there's nothing we can do about it. They went on to then say that the band of last Friday was largely peaceful, which it was not, because those of us in the media know that that was not entirely the truth. And now we have this situation where the Home Minister of Karnataka came out today and said, obviously there's an injustice that is being done, so obviously there will be a reaction. Do you believe that the government has sort of stepped back and allowed maybe some of this to continue just to support their argument that there will be a backlash if they follow the Supreme Court order?
Look, let me say very clearly, there is an injustice in the Supreme Court order against Karnataka. All of us are going to suffer a lack of water, and Supreme Court cannot pass an order in January giving us back order. I protest against the Supreme Court's order, and I've been saying that for long. It is a wrong order. We don't agree with it. Yes, under law, we have to obey. We will respectfully obey as citizens. The government has also obeyed, but it's a wrong order, and we have a right to protest. And we are emotionally very angry and upset at the way the Supreme Court has treated the people of Karnataka and the Bangalore and Mandya and everybody else. Yes, that is all true. But violence cannot be tolerated. Protest can be there. All of us can protest peacefully, but violence cannot be tolerated. And violence is there in certain areas. And the government's first duty is to prevent violence, protect the life, liberty and property. And there can be no forgiveness for the government if they don't do that. That is the primary responsibility of a government. And the government should have anticipated. They got the police forces, they got the intelligence, they got everything under their command, they got the resources, they got the authority of the law, they can declare curfew, they can do anything. Yes, people can protest. And the Home Minister can say, yes, there is injustice done. There is injustice. All of us agree with the Home Minister. We all are together. There is injustice. But violence is not the solution. We are protesting against the violence. Beyond the band is a violence. We should have protested peacefully, not forced everybody to close. You cannot force anybody to close. That is illegal, against the law and against the Constitution. And how can you ever instigate violence? I'm not going to say the state government instigated violence because that will be too much. The state government did not anticipate, did not do its job, and did not do a competent job today. They must accept it because the results are very clear. And tomorrow morning they must say, we are going to do this, and we're going to make sure everybody's life is there. We will come down hard on anybody and everybody. Like somebody said, there's a conspiracy, fringe groups, identify them, put them in jail, and make sure that tomorrow is peaceful. We need peace. We all with the government, we are all together in saying that this is a bad order of the Supreme Court. Yes, because we're going to suffer. And the suffering, you cannot give water, produce water for 2 crore people if there's no water in summer. And the BWP has said very clearly that from January they're going to ration water. Cauvery is very critical for drinking water of 2 crore people in Mysore, Mandya and all those areas. So there's a problem, but violence is not the solution.
In fact, I want to bring in Ravi Ramu. Ravi Ramu, the citizens of Bangalore proactively, being the brilliant city that it is, by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, devised a Google map update, put it up on the internet so that other citizens could find out what is safe, what is not safe, what are the points in which they should be travelling, what are the points they should be avoiding. But the government was not able to give them that very same information. That information should have come out from the government at 1 in the afternoon or at 12 in the afternoon, where people were starting to get worried. So despite the fact that, like Mr. Pai said, we have access to technology, we have access to engineers, it could be the smartest city in the world, we continue to fail our citizens.
Yeah, I think, Faye, there is no doubt we are the smartest city in the world, but I think the failing is that we tend to forget three constituents amongst all our squabbling and infighting. The first one, of course, is the student, who's perhaps the most vulnerable, especially the younger one. The second is the office goer, and you saw that visual on your own program, what happened to the office goer. And the third is the businessman. And in all three situations, I think if there needs to be protest, hopefully non-violent, but if there needs to be something of the violent nature, let it be isolated and let the rest of the city continue. I think that is where the whole problem occurs. If you're sitting in the middle of Cunningham Road, you don't know how to get home because you may be living in Kengeri. So the government needs to reach out. Like I did say earlier, it was through WhatsApp that I got to know personally. And then, of course, information started flooding in from our own people, our own staff in the office. And I think that is a very, very important matter which really causes us concern. Now, tomorrow, I don't know, all of us, are we going to go into work? Are all the students, going to go to schools? I think I'm more worried about tomorrow. Today is gone.
Yes.
And we have talked about what the issues are and how they can be handled. But what about tomorrow morning? I mean, it'll be really helpful if your channel can give us some guidance, because I don't have any. I don't know whether anybody else on this program does.
Well, so far we haven't received guidance on tomorrow. In fact, Brajesh Kalapa, representing the state government, is not part of this conversation anymore. But my reporters are trying to get updates from the police in Bangalore to find out what should be done. The police told us today to avoid all rail travel, avoid going out if you have a Tamil Nadu registered car. Don't cross over to the border to Tamil Nadu in a Karnataka registration car. That's what we've heard from the police so far, but there's no further update. Rajshekharan, I must point out that while the Karnataka government told us repeatedly that they've been in conversation with Tamil Nadu asking for reassurance of various kinds, there was radio silence from the Tamil Nadu government. There were no messages put out. There was no response at all to anything that happened today from the government in Chennai. What have you heard from the government, and why has the government been so quiet?
As a citizen of Chennai city and a proud Indian and a proud Tamilian, I appeal to all my fellow Kannadigas not to resort to these kind of violence and attacking, burning vehicles, attacking establishments.
Well, let's not make it a pure Kannadiga thing.
Very unfortunate.
Appeal to all Indians.
Please
appeal to all Indians.
Chennai.
No, yeah.
We will appeal to all Indians.
Because, see,
there was violence on both ends, both sides of the border. Don't make it us versus them. Please don't make it an us versus them. Appeal to all Indians.
I studied in Bangalore. I studied in Bangalore. Now, I know. I was happy student there. But it's most unfortunate to see these visuals on your channels, and 90 buses have been burnt, and all Tamil establishments, more than 20 lakh Tamilians are living in Bangalore city, and really our heart goes to them, and we can only appeal. See, we have not indulged, we have not attacked single Karnataka registration vehicle in Tamil Nadu. Only a minor incident has been reported, which you have been flashing it in your channel.
But you're not willing to accept the truth. I'm showing you visual evidence on the screen.
I apologize.
If we look at that right now,
I'm saddened to see
that is a Karnataka bus being attacked in Ratnarampura in Tamil Nadu. We're looking at it right now. I'm playing it one more time.
Let me see.
Ramnathpuram in Tamil Nadu, that is a Karnataka bus being attacked.
Yes, I agree with you.
Right?
I concede. I concede on that incident.
Then how can
I concede. That is very unfortunate. I don't support that incident. I want the police to arrest those accused, the perpetrators of this offence to be arrested immediately. That is different.
Okay.
But as far as Karnataka and Bangalore is concerned, the whole city was taken ransom by the fringes and the citizens were affected. The chief minister comes on TV channels, appeals to the people, and nothing is happening. It is failure of intelligence, failure of police.
So you're not answering the question of why the government of Tamil Nadu did not communicate.
I don't want to compare. No comparison with Tamil Nadu. See, the
I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing, Rajshekharan. See, my question, okay, let me simplify my question to you, Rajshekharan. Was there any sort of advisory message that came out from the government of Tamil Nadu today to its citizens in any way about the Cauvery judgment?
See, first, let's understand this Cauvery judgment. The Supreme Court...
No, I understand it perfectly. I understand it perfectly, Rajshekharan. I'm a citizen of both of those cities. I want to understand from you, has there been a response of any sort?
Supreme Court has given a verdict and we should obey the order of the apex court. What more a citizen has to do or the government has to do? He has to obey the order of the Supreme Court. Why go against
so there was no response.
Come heavily on Karnataka government. He did not utter a single word against the Tamil Nadu government.
We're all familiar with the judgment. My question to you was, has the Tamil Nadu government, and my interest here is only with the citizens of the two cities.
Tamil Nadu government has instructed the concerned officers, the DGP and the commissioner to take care of all the Karnataka establishments and the Karnataka business people, and they are safe, 100% safe. You tell one citizen...
Can people of Chennai go to office tomorrow without being concerned for their safety? Is my question. Can people of Chennai?
Yes, definitely.
All right, that was the answer. That was the answer to my question. Sridhar Pabishetty, Ravi Ramu asking us a very good question, which is
because it is totally out of control of the government, and I only see it as the 356 has to be invoked immediately. To that extent, the law and order is there.
All right, Sridhar Pabishetty, Ravi Ramu asked us a very valid question. Ravi Ramu asked us a very valid question. What happens tomorrow? I'm receiving messages right now of IT offices who've told their employees that there will be no buses going to and fro to the office tomorrow. As a result, there will be no food in their pantries because there will be no trucks coming in. And this is what has happened all through the day, that most companies have had to sort of make their own arrangements for their employees, make their own decisions on whether or not it was safe and what needs to happen. There has been no clear instruction from the government at all. Shall we assume then that there's no clear instruction for tomorrow either, Sridhar?
I completely agree with you, Faye, that the government has not been speaking and responding enough of these issues. They were able to decide on Section 144 only by 5 o'clock in the evening. And the burning of buses happened even after Section 144 was imposed. So they did not comb enough, they did not mobilize enough. And even when it comes to tomorrow, there is no certainty. There are still people who are still going back and forth and saying, when do we decide whether it will be there or not? Only a couple of companies have already announced telling that you can work from home, but other companies have not yet decided. They are waiting and watching for government to give them some kind of direction. But that's unfortunate here that the government has not gone all out in spelling out its game plan, in spelling out how does it plan to contain this unrest.
Right.
As what's most important now is for government to assert its control of situation in both states, both in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, and de-escalate this violence and bring certainty of how it's going to get the situation under control. Unfortunately, we have seen government being very tardy on this. As I said, the Home Minister was saying something else and the DGP was saying something else till almost 5 o'clock today. And that's unfortunate. You know, this was a peak time when many offices were shut down at 2:45, 2:30, and people had to come back on their own, unsure of how they'll get back home. And in Bangalore, there were huge traffic jams. The cops were not up to speed on this. And I do hope that at least the advisor comes as soon as possible, at least hopefully in the next 30-40 minutes, and so that people can plan their day tomorrow. Otherwise, it's going to be complete mayhem tomorrow as well.
All right. In fact, we have a lot of citizens who are calling us right now. Varghese is on the phone line. Varghese, go ahead. I have a few minutes left.
I had a small observation. You know, I was out on the roads when this riot began.
Yes.
Or when this thing began, and I saw it was a well-orchestrated teamwork. It was a planned. It was not a spontaneous event. It was something which I've seen riots happening in in my previous places of posting. And this was a planned event. They were not out to harm people. They were out to create a riot. And it was a planned riot. And who are the political beneficiaries? I hope the government is able to actually catch these people and you will get the political beneficiaries of this riot. The previous Bandh went off fairly peacefully. And that is how it should have been, a protest should have been. But this was a planned riot. That's my only point.
I want to ask Mohandas Pai this question. Mr. Pai, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You ran human resources at Infosys for a very, very long time. What advice would you give everybody who's watching right now? Would you recommend they stay at home tomorrow and attempt to work from home? Keep their kids, keep their children at home as well, because we're not receiving any clear instructions from the government at this point. People are just going to have to make their own decisions. What do you recommend they do? In your experience, what would you advise people to do?
Look, the first thing for people is to be safe, because we have only one life and we don't want to be harmed. And if the government of the state is not able to or willing to protect our lives or property, we should take precautions. So I would advise everybody, for your own sake, stay at home, ask your children not to go to school, ask young people not to go to college, stay at home, protect yourself, and watch out for the situation. And if you feel that things are safe, there is no violence, the government send the police in a state of force, and the government restores confidence, then you can go to work. But under no circumstances, send your children or your young people to college, ask them to stay home, possibly for the next 2 days, till things calm down, and do not take any chances. If you want to go to work, watch out in the afternoon. And if things are okay and you feel that confident, there is no violence and the media will be out in full swing, the world will be watching us, then maybe you should go home. Till then, work at home. Because you don't take chances. You see what is happening, if the government of the state does not protect you, if the police are not there in certain areas, and you see it happening in certain places, and it continues, what hope do you have as a citizen? I mean, this is anarchy. Let's understand it. That's why I want citizens to stand up and tell our Chief Minister, please put all the resources of the state to protect the life, liberty and property of all citizens. Do not tolerate any violence. Catch all these people, put them in jail, put the police on alert. If the Chief Minister has already asked the Home Minister to send the RAF, get the RAF, if required, call the army out. We got enough army, we got enough armed forces in the city, call them out, restore order at all costs. Restore order at all costs. Ask all senior police officers to go on patrol tonight and be there tomorrow, so people's confidence is there. If people lose confidence in the government's ability to maintain law and order, what is left in a civilized society? It's a very serious matter. It's an extremely serious matter. Because you cannot see the police standing by or the government abdicating its responsibility. Government cannot abdicate its responsibility. It is not, they should not do it, and we must tell our political masters.
Absolutely, that is well said. First point, of course, is that safety is of prime importance here. So as far as your family's safety is concerned for tomorrow, don't take any risks and try and stay home. Only step out of your house if you have to. Well, we spoke to the DGP of Karnataka this evening. Early this evening, he said that the state government has this under control. They don't particularly need help from the army at this point. We've also received word that there are several Hoysala cars and several bikes patrolling Bangalore. Will that be enough? Because all of this was said before 40 buses were torched in the city. And that incidence of arson makes us all very, very concerned. Bangalore bearing the brunt of the worst of the outrage against the Supreme Court judgment today that instructed the state government of Karnataka to release 12,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu until September 20th. There was, of course, started as stray incidents of violence through and destruction of public property through the city, finally ended up in what you're looking at on your screen right now, where 40 buses were set ablaze in a bus depot in Bangalore. We have a panel that stays with us right now, and of course people on the phone line. Venu Kumar is on the phone line from Chennai. Venu Kumar, can you hear me? Venu Kumar is not with us right now. Ravi Ramu, there is a likelihood that the city will stay uneasy for the next couple of days. It's going to cost business and industry a tremendous amount of money, isn't it?
Well, forget the going to, Faye. It's already cost us such a lot. I mean, this is day 3 of these vagaries. 2 were banned, so we were literally banned.
And then we said the second month we'll work on a Saturday. I think now it looks like to play catch up, we'll be working on Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays. I hope there are not going to be protests when we work on public holidays to make up for the time lost, but make up we will. But the cost to disruptive, systems and processes in businesses is quite, unhealthy. Bangalore is not known for this. If we were talking about some other places which are known for their unrest or more susceptible to that, then it would be a lesser evil. But this is the unkindest cut of all. Bangalore has largely been peaceful. We've had our protests, but shutting off opportunities for all classes of people is very debilitating. And I think the solution to this is dialogue with the political parties and the government and the people. You can't take the Supreme Court action right onto the roads. And I think we'd be able to curb them. But for how long? They may start in new roads and new localities which were unexpected. So I think to hope to be able to curb violence across cities is going to be only curfews and things like that. So it's only going to get worse. So I'm worried about the future. This week, for example, I was supposed to travel tomorrow. I've cancelled my travel. Who's going to answer that? I think that's where the problem is. It's not in whether it's 12,000 cusecs or 2,000. Water will flow from the highest to the lowest points if given free access. And let that be said and forgotten for the time being.
That's a very good point. Who makes up for the loss? Who makes up for the loss to the citizen, to the average citizen? Sridhar, go ahead.
Yeah. There's a Facebook message update from the Bangalore City Police 30 minutes ago, wherein they have said Section 144 is imposed till 14. I think it's a huge decision, and I think the government has now stepped up and come into action. And there is an emergency cabinet meeting at 11:30 tomorrow. I think both these developments are something that's relevant for us to keep a watch on, and that takes away 3 days of productive work. But at the same time, there is at least some decision coming from the government.
Well, Sridhar, if it's an emergency, and we're looking at that information right now, we'll put it up on the screen. If it's an emergency cabinet meeting, it should be happening through the night tonight. Perhaps not at 11:30 tomorrow morning after a late breakfast. But from what we're hearing, and we're going to get the police of Bangalore to confirm these reports, because like you pointed out, we've had several mixed responses come out of the government. So we're going to, our team is getting in touch with the government of Karnataka to confirm the fact that Section 144 stays applied in the city of Bangalore until the 14th. Now, Section 144 prevents more than 4 people from gathering in one place, which basically means that offices, schools, any sort of travel, any sort of public place will effectively have to close. Sujay Kantawala, explain to us Section 144. What does this mean for the citizens of Bangalore for the next 2 days?
Look, we are looking at the Eid festival also tomorrow. So 144, and that will have to be handled very sensitively by the local police, knowing that the tempers are so high. And also the people who need medical help, etc. So if one day is saved tomorrow for Eid, but then what about the next day? And all the persons on the program are very, very anxious, and rightly so, because Bangalore has never experienced this kind of violence and this kind of organized violence. And hats off to your channel to bring us all these images, and social media for enlightening the people. But may I say this, why does a government wait for things to go out of control? Where is the intelligence? And why are we paying tax? Bangalore is a city that pays one of the highest tax-paying cities in India. And do they get this in return for what they pay? Aren't the police having enough intelligence to realize that more than 50 to 60 buses are going to be tossed, and there is a likelihood, because there are mobs traveling all over the city, especially in sensitive areas, and they should have deployed. I don't see even one policeman in these visuals that you are showing, and this is appalling. Imagine if this is happening to buses, what will be happening to citizens? So the state government, it appears, is just a knee-jerk reaction. They are just firefighting at the last moment, and only the the good citizens of Bangalore, possibly giving out messages again and again for the others to stay calm, possibly will see that this violence ends. And the Supreme Court in its judgment has given a particular direction for a limited period. And though we may not sometimes agree with court orders, but we have to respect them. And this is the dicta of the highest court of the land.
Sujay Kantawala,
so we have to bow down in respect and accept it. Otherwise,
Sujay, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just going to notify our viewers. This is the Bangalore City Police on Facebook and Twitter that say that Section 144 is imposed in Bangalore City from the 12th, which is today, to the 14th. Strict action shall be initiated at against any miscreants. Explain to us Section 144, Sujay. What does it mean? What kind of, so does it also include medical help, hospitals, essential services?
Yes, they are kept away from the rigors of this provision. Any assembly of more than 4 people will be treated as an unlawful assembly. I don't know, along with 144, if they have given shoot at sight orders.
No, there is no shoot at sight orders.
If there is an unlawful assembly of more than 4 people, it will be treated as unlawful, and they will have to be arrested immediately. No explanation is going to work. So therefore, people in groups of 2 and 3 are allowed, but anything above 4 will be treated as an unlawful assembly. And 144 is normally invoked immediately because the government does not want a situation to go out of control. We've had problems in Mumbai also in the past in certain areas. And one of the speakers said that there are certain areas in between the 2 states connecting which are sensitive. So you can also invoke 144 to a specific area. You don't have to invoke it vis-a-vis the entire city. But that should have been done immediately because the police knew that there is a possibility of.
Right. We also understand Bangalore Airport has, in fact, also communicated on Twitter about 18 minutes ago saying, good evening, transport services are operating normally at the airport, be safe. But it still might make sense, like Ravi Ramu has done, to sort of maybe cancel flights if you're traveling over the next 2 days. If the city is going to be uneasy and uncomfortable and you have a plan to travel, that's something you might want to reconsider. Ravi Ramu, that answers our question of what happens over the next 2 days. We're talking about Section 144 until the 14th, which is 2 more days.
So should I tell our HR head to shut office for 2 days, Faye? Is that what we are saying? It's a depressing thought, but might as well sleep with it than get up with it tomorrow morning.
It does seem like that. Section 144 prevents any sort of gathering
Ravi,
of more than 4 people.
People like you and I are the soft targets.
A gathering of more than 4 people would include your office, I'm afraid, Ravi Ramu.
Like Ravi and all of us on the show, we are all soft targets.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, even if we just get on with the business of trying to get on with our own work, I mean, off the roads, is that what we are saying, 144?
Sujay Kantawala, 144 effectively, I mean, we talked about it this morning when we asked the police.
144 is strictly.
Police said 144 in certain pockets of Bangalore where they felt was tense. We're still trying to get police on the phone line, but they're not answering our calls right now. In the meantime, the Twitter message that the police have put out very clearly says 144 in all of Bangalore. So, Sujay, does that mean off the roads completely, nobody can go to office?
That's right. There's a blanket cover on the city. 144 covers the entire city. Any group of people in excess of 4 will be treated as an unlawful assembly. I'm repeating myself so that people are aware. And Ramu, it's sad, but people like you and me who are soft targets and the other panelists will have to stay off the roads. As far as medical treatment is concerned, at every check post, you will have to explain to the police that there is a patient who is, and possibly to be on the safe side, even if you have a white flag, to be on the safe side, so that the police knows that you come in peace and you have to cross one check post to another and ultimately go to the hospital. So essential supplies will have to be stocked, and we'll have to just prepare for 2 days. I would rather suggest that you remain at home and cancel your flight. Sorry to say that. I'm a prophet of doom, but sorry to say that.
In order to make it very clear to our audience, we're going to write this on our screen that says Bangalore is now closed for the next 2 days for any sort of gathering. that includes more than 4 people. So ideally, you should be prepared to stay home. If you could make arrangements for any sort of groceries that you might be missing tomorrow, if you have children at home. So milk and food and water is something you should try and adjust for or provide for the next 2 days. Swami is on the phone line. He's a citizen. Swami, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what I could say is situation really should not have turned to this side of thing. It is very unfortunate, and see, only the criminals and goons are taking advantage of the situation. I think the government should play very, very strict adherence to the law and make people to give calm and quiet, and particularly people who are going to the offices and who are going to the business, should be protected from all sorts of violence. I think this is a very, very sad situation. I see that situation should be normal, at least from day tomorrow. I feel Kannadigas are always very calm going, but I don't know why this situation had arisen. But at the same time, I think the sharing of Cauvery is also very critical because of the fact that Bangalore city is the one who is going to get potentially a very large quantity of, share of drinking water supply. I think in that context, it should also have looked in very seriously. The days to come, Bangalore city is going to face a severe water shortage problem beyond 2017. I think in that context, I think there is a serious thinking has to go, not only from the judiciary, but also from the 2 states to share this water.
Right. Of course, that's the message coming out right now, that Bangalore will stay band for the next 2 days. Suresh Kantawala, go ahead.
A little bit away from this debate, the underground water table in our country keeps on reducing every year and year. Someday, I would suggest a debate on this, because what is happening is the people are increasing in the country. They need more water to drink, but our underwater table has gone down so much. We'll need to have more reservoirs, more water harvesting, and these kind of things we cannot afford, because the world is watching us. On one hand, our Prime Minister goes all around the world and brings in investment and creates such a good image of our country. And on the other hand, people all over the world, and especially a city like Bangalore, vibrant modern city like Bangalore, facing this kind of an onslaught, is going to be viewed very seriously by the foreign companies and people who want to come here and do business. So that is something that will have to be seen, and the Bangaloreans are being tested to the fullest. It's a sad day.
It is in fact a sad day, and I want to bring to our audience, anyone who tuned in, the information that we're getting from the police that Bangalore will in fact stay closed for the next 2 days. This includes the festival of Eid. Any gathering of more than 4 people in one place will be considered unlawful. From our research, that unlawful gathering could lead to arrest and then a jail term of up to 3 years. That's rudimentary research in section 144. Sridhar Pabishetty, obviously this is not something that the people in Bangalore are used to. They're not people who sort of prepare for a shutdown of the city. People in Mumbai are used to it because of floods. We tend to stock up on dry food and water because we never know when something like this will happen. But what's the reaction going to be in Bangalore for the next 2 days?
I think from the kind of violence and the unpreparedness that we have seen today, I think safety first is probably what all of us should think. And I agree with what Ravi Ramu said of the challenge of how does this pan out for businesses? How does it pan out for a working city like Bangalore? Bangalore, if you see, has a larger share of working class people, and their life are going to be highly impacted. When I was coming back, the driver today was saying that, sir, what will happen to the those who earn money on a daily basis? For them, for the poor and marginal, this is going to be highly impactful. Milk, vegetables, all these essential supplies which impact The young and the old are going to be at short supply. As you rightly said, we have not prepared for stocking up for 3 days, and this is something I have not known in my life, in my whole life of 38 years being in Bangalore, and we are going to learn that in the coming 2 days. Even as we walked out of office today, my group HR called me aside and he said, Sridhar, what do you make of this situation? And the best that we could say was, let's review every hour. And that's what we are doing as we speak right now. And we have not prepared. I mean, as businesses, as organizations, we have never seen this kind of crisis. And I think the best thing for all of us to do is put the law back into force. The CM of both the states should talk to each other and build on confidence building measures and say that we will work together, we will go behind the culprits, whoever have perpetrated this, and make quick arrests. And it's not very difficult to identify the kingpins. These are known arsonists to a very large extent. And once the kingpins are back, are in the dock, definitely it will de-escalate. It's important that the chief ministers of both states talk to each other. And as Mohan earlier said, let's marshal the armed forces. We have enough armed forces in the city, and we can bring this back to normalcy. We need to see governance in Bangalore today, and that's of utmost importance.
In fact, we're still trying to get in touch with the police in the city of Bangalore, and we haven't been able to reach anyone from the government or the police to give us an official confirmation.
That tells a lot about government. Government doesn't have time to talk to the media. Government doesn't have time to talk to citizens. The government doesn't have time to talk to its own lawyers. What is happening? Why are we seeing this kind of a disconnect? And as you rightly said, if the emergency cabinet meeting is at 11:30 tomorrow morning, then we have something to be worried about.
We do have something to be worried about. In fact, I'm just going to read out from, and Twitter is the largest source of information at this point. Bangalore Airport tells us that flight operations are normal at the airport tonight. If you need assistance, the Bangalore Airport has put out a number that you can call and WhatsApp. It's 888 499 8888. That's the number of Bangalore Airport. If you have a flight tonight, we understand that flights are operating as normal out of the airport. You will need help with transportation. We're being told that transportation to and from the airport is functioning as normal. I'm assuming these should be either the taxis or the Vaya Vajra buses. That's not what we've heard. We've had a reporter stuck at Bangalore Airport for a while. We're going to verify that information again for you. D'souza, in a second, I'll just come to you. I have Mahesh on the phone line, who's a citizen who wants to join our conversation. Mahesh, what has been your experience in Bangalore today?
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and thanks for all the call. I've been in Bangalore and seeing Cauvery for last 30 years. I just want to bring in a few points. See, Bangalore has grown leaps and bounds, and Biocon, Infosys, all the big companies, they've got lakhs of employees, and these companies have not contributed to overall growth of Bangalore. See, apart from Cauvery, we have traffic, we have garbage, and we have, when PM Modi is telling smart cities. So we need to ensure that the governments of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka could have talked much way back and a rapid action force. And if they both chief ministers want to talk only through Supreme Court is not a microphone between two. It's hardly 80 kilometers. They can drive a car, go there, and the two CMs can talk. So what I'm trying to say is whatever you're seeing now is firefighting, Section 142 and all. But in larger effect, this could have been controlled years back. This is from 30 years I'm seeing that buses been torched and the bunds been organized. So why can't the two government get together? And Supreme Court order in effect is really rubbish, which says 15 or 12,000 TMC, where we don't have water. The farmers are bound to reciprocate. So one side we have smart cities, people zipping in IT and talking about work from home. And on the other side we have farmers who don't have water to drink and who primarily supply to Bangalore. So there is a disconnect between the growing, companies and the governance and the basic ground reality farmers, where the Supreme Court order itself, you just cannot publish in 2 days, and which is going to lead to huge repercussion and what you see today. So in effect, it should have been controlled. The government should have come closer, and they don't communicate. So every case you put in Supreme Court, that means, if I say hi-bye to Jayalalitha, also I need to go to Supreme Court. Everything rests there. So why can't the two government comes together, work together, both the citizens? See, Tamil Nadu and Kannadigas have been brothers and have been together for years, generations together. It's not today that we hate Tamilians or Tamilians. I have a Tamilian wife and I'm a Kannadiga. We've been years together. So in effect, we should be really, get this Cauvery sorted out.
True.
And if we cannot sort Cauvery...
Well said, Mahesh, that, and this has been the problem that has sort of caused me pain over the last two weeks. Ravi Ramu,
Right.
those of us who live in Bangalore speak both Tamil and Kannada fluently because they're both languages of the city, they're both communities of the city. There's really, like Mr. Pai said, it's no way to tell the difference right now between the Kannadigas and the Tamil-speaking Bangaloreans of the same city. This sort of rift that separates us based on identity is not only disheartening, it's very disappointing.
Yeah, I think, Faye, I certainly speak Kannada and Tamil. So I can speak straight from the heart. And like somebody else on the panel, I went 4 years to Loyola College and finished my degree there in Chennai. And I've studied in Bangalore. I belong to Bangalore. So all of us speak from the heart. And I think I did also mention earlier on in the program that, we need to actually communicate with the writers, the political parties who feel aggrieved, be it, this side of the border or on the Tamil Nadu side of the border. So it doesn't matter which side of the border. And I think we need to explain to them that this is an issue which needs to be sorted out. I think the grassroots need to be explained too. Not these things are not fought in courts. These things are explained in public parks and town hall meetings to the powers that are. So I think something needs to be done by NGOs perhaps, including the government. I'm not citing the government for 1 second. We all know where they have failed and where they have to actually play a lot of catch-up. But I think each one of us, if we can educate. My driver is Tamilian. He lives in Bangalore. He's born here and grown up here. What does he do? He's not going to come out of his house tomorrow. We have practical problems. In fact, I just slipped out during your commercial break and I told my house help. I said, Neeridya in Kannada means do we have water, to drink. That's exactly what I did. So this is quite pathetic. And it happens from the grassroots. The violence comes from the very basic levels. And unless this communication seeps down to them and not people who run companies like us, but right at the other end of the scale, those who actually torch the buses and the cars.
Yes. In fact, we're putting out as much information as we can get right now from the government or from Twitter, which is where the government which is how the government is communicating with citizens at this point. They are not answering phone calls from the media. We understand, for those of our viewers who just tuned in, Section 144 imposed in Bangalore right through the city until the 14th of this month. Sujay Kantawala, go ahead.
Faye, if I can just come in, sorry, Sujay.
Yes,
I've actually taken a screenshot
Faye,
and sent it to our company.
I hope
Sujay, 1 second. Ravi continues. Ravi,
Sujay,
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to, place credit where it's due to your channel. I took a screenshot of our program where it said Bangalore closed for 2 days, and I WhatsApp it even as this program goes to our HR head and our operations head, saying, for 2 days, let's work out a plan as soon as I get off the phone. So it's really helpful. This is what needs to be done, rather than all the other rhetoric which is going on in our cities.
All right. We continue to stay on air live on this channel as we get updates.
Faye, may I say this?
Sujay, I'll come to you in a second. Just to inform our viewers, we will continue to stay live on air on the channel as we continue to get updates from the police, from the state government, from the airports, from the railways. We will try and bring you as much information as we can so you can function over the next 2 days, so you can make decisions about your businesses and your family. Sujay, go ahead.
Yeah, you just announced that there was a helpline number from the airport. These kind of measures, measures to reach the citizens in this moment of crisis will show the maturity of our agencies. Also, the politicians have to behave like statesmen, not politicians, and to show their maturity and integrity. So this is the time of crisis that they have to act. May I only say one thing? Caller Mahesh just said that Supreme Court order, he used the word rubbish. May I only request not to use such words? Supreme Court is one of the pillars of our democratic system. It's a very, very important organ of the government and our democracy, in our system of things. Please respect the Supreme Court verdict. The Supreme Court hears all the parties concerned, and thereafter the Supreme Court passes interim directions. So we don't know which legal team on which side messed up or which gave a wrong portrayal of facts to the Supreme Court, but we have to bow down our head in respect and honor the Supreme Court order. I would only request with folded hands, please don't use such words as rubbish and all that. You may not like a particular direction issued by the apex court or a judgment, but we still have to respect it because it's the final court. And all these years, let me tell you one thing, this is one organ, this is one limb of our government that all Indians always look up to and has never failed us. So let's respect it.
Well, that's a fair point. Respect the Supreme Court and the orders made by the Supreme Court. Seth is on the phone line from Bangalore. Seth, go ahead.
We respect the judgment of the Supreme Court by the learned judges, but the learned judges have erred in doing injustice to Bangaloreans and to people in Karnataka because this is a bad year, rainfall is short, there is no water available for drinking. Drinking water should have priority over all other needs, and Tamil Nadu, this is only for the third crop in the same year. The learned Supreme Court judges should relook at the whole issue and do justice to us because the common man on the street is suffering without drinking water, and this should have priority over everything. We respect the learned Supreme Court judges. We have never said it is rubbish. We respect them. We have high regard for the Supreme Court, but we can always say that the learned Supreme Court judges have erred in giving a finding which is not fair.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time on this particular show. I have to take another break, but we will come back. Like I said, we remain live on Magic Bricks Now. This is an urban issues channel, and our focus is only the urban citizen. And to make sure, at least in Bangalore, that you have all of the information you need in order to continue to make decisions for yourself and for your family and your business to keep everybody safe in the city of Bangalore. We appeal for peace. We support the citizens of Bangalore. We support, safety. And we support your peace. If you want to get in touch with us, we'll continue to take phone calls. Any sort of information that you have that you believe will be useful. Like, for example, if in your house you have an extra supply of water that you might be able to share with your neighbors, or any other sort of way that you can help your neighbors or other citizens of Bangalore tonight, feel free to get in touch with us. Our contact details are on your screen. My Twitter handle is on your screen as well. We're going to be back in a minute as we continue to stay live on updates coming in from the city of Bangalore.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.